The purpose of Dillard utilizing the references to certain deformities is to indicate that every human being might appear to be different, but each life contains similar amounts of time to produce a meaningful experience in their time on Earth. Specifically, anyone can be born, set apart from the rest of the world, but their presence still has an intent. Despite the mental oppression, they can choose to envelop themselves in positivity or negativity. Dillard uses the motif of deformity to convey that all human beings are similar despite physical or mental differences. Each individual can let that oppression deter them from the meaningful aspects of life, or they can provide the differences as reason to enjoy these aspects.
Dillard uses the motif of deformities as a way of showing how God created the world and everything inside of it. Dillard argues that God made us all to be equals. Despite physical deformities, all humans are the same on the inside. God did not intentionally make people with deformities just for the sake of having them. People with deformities exist because it is simply a way of life. Dillard states, God is no more conjugating which among us he plans to place here as bird-headed dwarfs or elephant man, or to kill by AIDS or kidney failure, heart disease, childhood leukemia, or sudden infant death syndrome. Then he is pitching lightning bolts at pedestrians, triggering rock slides, or setting fires. Dillard compares people with deformities to natural disasters. People often view natural disasters as something that is inevitable, and it isn't often questioned. Dillard views people with deformities in the same way. The use of juxtaposition forces her reader to consider a different view on deformities. Many people assume that deformities are inferior when in reality, the people who contain them are still the same as us. People with deformities have the same inner morals and values that we do. It is stated that friendly and pleasant, the text says of bird-headed dwarves, they suffer moderate to severe mental deficiency. This shows how although these people suffer with mental disabilities, they are still respectable people who can communicate with the rest of us. Although people with deformities may appear different on the outside, we are all the same on the inside and have the same moral values. God intended for us all to be equals. Physical deformity is simply a way of life and are not something to be looked down upon.
As God indirectly asserts once again, as well as many other individuals from a whole realm of religions, negative aspects such as deformities are simply a way of life. However, this claim is not the end-all be-all according to Dillard. In fact, it can be said that humanity's time on Earth is absolutely valuable, and we are able to produce meaningful experiences with our time. Time is everything. Dillard feels the need to address the fact that many tend to complain about such insignificant dilemmas, when one could be carrying a basket in which sits her superior-looking child, or in more colloquial terms, a bird-headed dwarf. The author repeats the deformity of a bird-headed dwarf to emphasize the word superior. Juxtaposition of stereotypical occurrences implies that these so-called bird-headed dwarf children are capable of being friendly and present, as they simply suffer a moderate to severe mental deficiency. In essence, despite the mental or emotional oppression that one consists of, it must not be used as an excuse. Dillard feels quite strongly that humanity must continue to strive forward and not look back, as we must keep in mind that those who have come before us, what is of utmost importance is what is here and now. As Dillard quotes Tillard, crucial is also the incandescence of matter. It's filling the universe to the exclusion of all spirits, and it's blazing from within. To summarize, what is basically being said here is that matter, symbolically, apparatuses that are worthwhile, are overwhelming the fact that humanity has made mistakes in the past. Overall, as Dillard asks herself, what does this sentence mean? With one's time, they can answer this question with what is more important to them, their past, their present, or their future.
Dillard uses the motif of deformities to emphasize individuality among humans. Dillard is trying to say that in general, humans like to categorize people with deformities together, when in actuality, every person, regardless of deficiency or disability, has their own characteristics and personality that makes them their own person. She wants the reader to focus on the specific characteristics that give humans meaning, like when she writes, Anna McRae came to life. How many centuries would you have to live before this and thousands of incidents like it every day cease to astound you? She is referencing a story from Memoirs of a Cape Breton Doctor where a baby girl is transverse or sideways in the womb and how she suffers deformity in the form of artificial respiration. By using the girl's name and exact birthday, Dillard is giving her an identity and individuality and making her into an actual human rather than another statistic of someone born deformed. Similarly, Dillard discusses a baby that is a border baby or one who has been abandoned by their mother at the hospital. She describes how, unlike many border babies, Billy is free of fetal alcohol syndrome. Once again, Dillard is using the idea of a group, the border babies, and then giving the baby their own personality and identity. By describing Billy as healthy and his physical characteristics, such as his red hair, Dillard is showing how humans are so quick to group people into their deformities that we do not take time to look at everyone's individual story. I believe she uses the idea of children with deformities to dramatize the grouping that we do subconsciously because it's a magnified response when referring to children who are born looking different. Dillard is trying to show that all humans are equal and that they are all going to die but can find significance through their own identity and experience in life regardless of deformity.